Good morning and namaskaram, one and all. Welcome to Embrace Equity, a special program on the occasion of International Women's Day. You're listening to this live from the studios of All India Radio, Hyderabad. We welcome all our dignitary guests, and I would request our station director, Sir, Sri V. Uday Shankar Garu, the head of programs, to felicitate our Chief Justice for today, Dr. Justice G. Radharani Garu, Honorable Judge of High Court of Telangana State. Please give a big round of applause. I would also request, sir, to present a wonderful token of appreciation and thank you to Ms. Celestian Shaukat Garu, who's the Manager, Apprenticeship, NASSCOM, Telangana. To Dr. Vidya Shravanti ma'am, who's an entrepreneur and educationalist. To Ms. Divya Kalabhavani Garu, who's from Dhruva Space. To Ms. Midhula Deva Bhaktuni Garu, co-founder of Mivi Company. Also to Sri Mullapudi Sai Chakradhar Garu, Assistant General Manager, Faculty, State Bank Staff College, Begumpet. Now I would request Sri A. Rajbabu Garu to please come onto the stage.
శ్రోతలందరికీ నమస్కారం, అలాగే ప్రేక్షకులందరికీ కూడా నమస్కారం. ఈ కార్యక్రమం రెండు రాష్ట్రాల్లోని అన్ని ఆకాశవాణి కేంద్రాలు అలాగే ఆకాశవాణి యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ కూడా లైవ్ ప్రసారం చేస్తోంది. గతాన్ని వేడుక చేసుకోవటం, భవిష్యత్తుకు ప్రణాళికలు రచించుకోవటం అనే థీమ్ నుంచి డిజిట్ ఆల్ దాకా అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవ అద్భుత ప్రయాణం కొనసాగుతున్న వేళ ఆకాశం ఆవని నిండా అతిథులందరికీ ఆకాశవాణి గౌరవ శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియచేస్తోంది. ఈ సందర్భంగా గొప్పగా సగర్వంగా చెప్పుకునే విషయం ఏమిటంటే, ఆకాశవాణి అన్న పేరే స్త్రీవాచకాన్ని సూచిస్తుంది. ఆకాశవాణిని శ్రోతలు అమ్మతో పోలుస్తారు. ఆకాశవాణి మొదటి నుండి స్త్రీ పక్షపాతే. వివక్షతలు అనే పదం ఆకాశవాణి డిక్షనరీలోనే లేదన్న విషయం మనందరికీ తెలుసు. వ్యాఖ్యాతలు, న్యూస్ రీడర్లు, ప్రొడ్యూసర్లు, కళాకారులు, అధికారులు అందరిలో మహిళామూర్తులు ఆకాశవాణి సుదీర్ఘ ప్రస్థానంలో తమదైన ముద్ర వేశారు, పాల్గొన్నారు, పాలించారు, మార్గనిర్దేశనం కూడా చేశారు. అటువంటి మహిళామూర్తులను స్మరించుకుంటూ మహిళా శ్రోతలను ఉత్తేజితుల్ని చేసి వారి జీవితాల్లో సజీవ స్వరాలుగా మారిన చరిత మన ఆకాశవాణిది. ఈశాన్య రాష్ట్రాల్లో మొదటిసారి మహిళా శాసనసభ్యులుగా ఎన్నికైన ఇద్దరు మహిళామూర్తులకు ఈ సందర్భంగా మనం అభినందిస్తూ మరోసారి ఆకాశం నిండా అవని నిండా తమ తేజస్సులు నింపుతున్న మహిళామణులందరికీ శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియజేసుకుంటూ ఇప్పుడు ఆకాశవాణి ప్రోగ్రామ్ హెడ్ ఉదయ్ శంకర్ గారు స్వాగతం పలుకుతారు.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవం, ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఉమెన్స్ డే సందర్భంగా మనందరికీ శుభాకాంక్షలు. మన మధ్య ఉన్నటువంటి జస్టిస్ రాధారాణి గారు వారు ఎంతో బిజీగా షెడ్యూల్లో ఉన్నా కూడా ఆకాశవాణికి వచ్చినందుకు మనందరి తరఫున వారు మరొకసారి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుతున్నాను. కొంతమందికి ఇక్కడ తెలుగు రాదు, ఇంగ్లీష్, కాబట్టి కొన్ని చోట్ల తెలుగు ఆర్ ఇంగ్లీష్తో మాట్లాడతామండి. ప్రోగ్రాంలు అందరూ కూడా మాట్లాడచ్చు. అలా there are so many, I have been given only 1 minute time to speak here. So there are so many aspects where we can improve, all of us, when it comes to women. What I notice is that not only women, even for a matter that men also, in terms of digital literacy, financial literacy and cyber security. These are the three things where we have to get more knowledge, and after you gaining knowledge you have to pass on to your family members and in turn to the society. See, keeping or avoiding social media and all that, no, it is not a solution. You have to utilize this technology to better our life and to society. That's the only message that I wish to share with you. Thank you.
May I request Akhilandeshwari Ravella Garu to please speak a few words.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం. ఆకాశవాణి విశిష్ట అతిథులు, ఆకాశవాణి శ్రోతలు, నా తోటి మిత్రులు అందరికీ అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దిన శుభాకాంక్షలు. మహిళలు చాలా వరకు అన్ని రంగాల్లోనూ స్వావలంబన సాధిస్తున్నారు. అయితే సొంత ఆరోగ్యం విషయంలో అంత శ్రద్ధ తీసుకోవట్లేదేమో అనిపిస్తుంది. నా వరకు ప్రతి మహిళ కుటుంబంలో ప్రతి వారి పట్ల చాలా జాగ్రత్త తీసుకుంటారు. కానీ తన పట్ల కూడా అంతే శ్రద్ధ తీసుకుని ఆరోగ్యంగా ఉంటే సమాజం పట్ల, తన వృత్తి పట్ల, కుటుంబం పట్ల మరింత శ్రద్ధ తీసుకోగలరని ఆశిస్తూ మరొకసారి అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు. నమస్తే.
థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్. ఇప్పుడు ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ సీమా కుమార్ గారు తమ ఓపెనింగ్ రిమార్క్స్ ఇస్తారు.
Thank you so much, and very warm welcome and very good morning to all distinguished ladies here. Are not we lovely and beautiful? And so we all beautiful ladies and we all beautiful girls here. We are celebrating Women's Day today. As sir has said, I'm thanking you, Uday Shankar sir, that he has given me an opportunity to speak here. And as he said that he has been given 1 minute, can you imagine how much time I have been given? Only 30 seconds. So I want to wind up this in 30 seconds. Why I kept, sir has asked me what will be the title of this program, and I kept it, Embrace the Equity. Why not equality? Equality is like a terms where the equal opportunity is given to us all. But here, the question is equity. We all comes from different backgrounds. We have different opportunities. And we at all, if a mother, we have a mother's guilt also, coming out and doing outside jobs, not taking care of our kids. So why not we all be given different opportunities, what is needed for us to be on have that equal exact level. So here, we all place, and I'm asking, I want to wind up my speech here to quoting Mother Teresa ma'am. She said, you women, you have to be supported because you deserve it. Means, I please and I request all of you here and to the society, to the family, and to the male and female as well, that empowering a woman is empowering the humanity. Thank you so much. And we are celebrating here our International Women's Day, and we will celebrate it at full scale. Thank you so much to have you all here. Thank you. Thank you once again.
సీమా కుమార్ గారికి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తూ ఇప్పుడు మరో ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ నేహారా గారిని మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాం.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the distinguished dignitaries seated here. We have come a long way through since 1857, celebrating Women's Day, talking about gender equality, talking about violence against women, abuse. Today we are also talking about child abuse. And we have been speaking about reproductive rights for women, and we are still speaking about it. So there are so many things still to be addressed. We have come a long way through, we agree. There is a lot of empowerment that we've been seeing and we are seeing, but there is still a lot to be done with respect to all these things, be it gender bias, inequality, reproductive rights, abuse, and so on. The list goes on. So as at individual level, at community level, and even at family level, I think we need to sit down, have a dialogue, have a conversation, and bring change within ourselves first, and then at family level, at community level, and society at large. I think every woman and man as well need to think about this. Today, if all these girls and women are sitting here proudly lifting their heads up, I think there are supportive men with good heart in their lives who allowed them, who supported them throughout to come here. I think all the women sitting here have that such men in life, and I'm also sure they must have come across a lot of challenges. They've broken so many barriers. We also need to speak about breaking gender stereotypes today. We conveniently amend Constitution, but we have inhibitions in breaking gender stereotypes. Why don't we have a dialogue on that? Why don't we start a conversation on that? I think we need to put more light on such things, and every organization or every educational institution needs to have an internal complaints committee, not just to as a sleeping committee and raise up whenever there is an occasion, but it has to be an active committee and speak about it, speak about equality, speak about the rights that women and girl children need to have, right from providing sanitation to giving equal respect. Today in service sector, we go to a lot of places, be it a government organization or a private organization. There are permanent employees, there are temporary employees, and there are people who keep coming and going. For instance, in All India Radio, we have permanent employees, we have casual assignees, and we also have artists like you all who keep come and go. We all need to work towards providing them comfort, giving them hygienic places to sit, and so on. And I mean to say we need to work towards that. And I'm given only 1 minute time, so I would like to wind up. But before winding up, I would like to remind all men and women that not just on 8th of March, it's a very lucky day that womanhood is glorified, but the spirit has to continue 365 days. We need to continue that. And I would also like to say that today you will see women in All India Radio clad in hues of red, orange, and yellow, which signifies fire. I think you all must be thinking about this popular dialogue from a Telugu film. You got me right. I wish you all a happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Nihara ma'am. That was insightful. And now is the time where I would request our chief guest, Dr. Justice G. Radharani Garu, Honorable Judge of High Court, Telangana State, to please come and deliver the presidential address. She is grown from being an advocate to a public prosecutor and now to a judge and a mother of a doctor and a lawyer. So let us welcome her with a big, big round of applause. Please.
అందరికీ మహిళా దినోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఆకాశంలో సగం, అవనిలో సగం, వాస్తవంలో ఎక్కడ? స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ చెప్తూ ఉంటుంటాయి వాస్తవంలో ఎక్కడ ఉన్నాము అన్నది. అన్నిట్లో 50%, కానీ బయట అన్ని రంగాల్లో 50% ఉన్నామా, ఉపయోగించుకుంటున్నామా, ఎందుకు మనం ఆ ఈక్వల్ షేర్ తీసుకోలేకపోతున్నాము అన్నది అర్థం చేసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. మహిళా దినోత్సవం రోజున మనందరం ఎంబ్రేస్ ఈక్విటీ, ఇది మన స్లోగన్ ఈసారి ఉమెన్స్ డేకి. ఎంబ్రేస్ ఈక్విటీ అంటే ఏంటి? ఈక్వాలిటీ వేరు, ఈక్విటీ వేరు అని ఇందాక ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశారు మనకి. అయినా కానీ దాన్ని అర్థం చేసుకోవటం కొంచెం క్లిష్టమైన. మనం అందరం రకరకాల కల్చరల్ ప్లేసెస్ నుంచి, కల్చరల్ సొసైటీస్ నుంచి వస్తూ ఉన్నాం. డిఫరెంట్ రిలిజియన్స్ నుంచి, డిఫరెంట్ స్టేట్స్ నుంచి, డిఫరెంట్ ప్లేసెస్ నుంచి. మన ఇళ్లలో ఉండే పరిస్థితులు వేరువేరుగా ఉంటాయి. అందరికీ ఒకటేలాంటి పరిస్థితులు ఉండవు. సమాన అవకాశాలు అంటే వీటన్నిటిని కూడా అర్థం చేసుకుని వాళ్ళకి, మహిళలకి వారి సముచిత స్థానం ఇవ్వగలగటం అన్నది. ప్రతి సొసైటీలో ఈక్వల్ రోల్, ఫెయిర్నెస్ ఫర్ ద ఉమెన్. మన అన్ని ఫీల్డ్స్లో అలా ఉంటున్నామా అన్నది క్వశ్చన్ చేసుకోగలగాలి. అవి మనని ఎక్కడ వెనక్కి లాగుతున్నాయి, ఆ అడ్డంకులు ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తున్నాయి? మన కల్చరే వెనక్కి లాగుతుందా, మన ట్రెడిషన్సే వెనక్కి లాగుతున్నాయా? ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఎవరికి వాళ్ళం క్వశ్చన్ చేసుకోగలగాలి. క్వశ్చన్ చేసుకొని మిగిలిన మన ఫ్యామిలీ మెంబర్స్, మిగిలిన వాళ్ళు కూడా వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లో ఉమెన్కి ఎంకరేజ్ చేయగలగాలి. దట్ ఈజ్ ఈక్విటీ, ఐ థింక్, ఇన్ ఏ సింపుల్ వే. అందరికీ ఒకటే రకమైన షూస్ ఇవ్వటం అన్నది ఈక్వాలిటీ అవుతుంది. కానీ ఎవరికి తగ్గ షూస్ వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చి పరిగెత్తమని, ఈక్వల్గా పార్టిసిపేట్ చేయమని కోరటం అన్నది ఇట్స్ ఈక్విటీ ఇన్ ఏ సింపుల్ వర్డ్స్. ఇప్పుడు రకరకాల, మనకి ఈరోజు గెస్ట్లు చాలా వివిధ రంగాల్లో ఉన్న, రేర్ ఫీల్డ్స్లో ఉన్న ప్రముఖులు వచ్చారు. ఈ స్పేస్ ఫీల్డ్ అనివ్వండి, డిఫరెంట్ వెంచర్స్ అనివ్వండి, అన్నిట్లో కూడా అసలు మహిళలకి ఆ రంగాల్లోకి ఎంటర్ అవ్వటం కష్టం అని చెప్పి ఫీల్ అవుతాం. ఇప్పుడు మా జ్యుడిషియరీ అవనివ్వండి, జ్యుడిషియరీలో కూడా ఒకప్పుడు స్త్రీలు చాలా తక్కువగా ఉండేవాళ్ళు. చాలా రేర్గా మనకి ఉమెన్ జడ్జెస్ కనిపించేవాళ్ళు. ఆ ఉమెన్ జడ్జెస్ కూడా హైకోర్ట్ అండ్ సుప్రీంకోర్ట్ లెవెల్లో ఇంకా చాలా తక్కువ కనిపిస్తారు. ఒకళ్ళు ఇద్దరు, ఎప్పుడు కూడా 10 మంది కంటే మించి ఎక్కడా ఉండరు. 10 మంది రావటం చాలా గొప్ప. ఇప్పటికి తెలంగాణలో మనకి 9 మంది ఉమెన్ హైకోర్ట్ జడ్జెస్ ఉన్నారు అవుట్ ఆఫ్ 33. అలాగే కానీ సబార్డినేట్ జ్యుడిషియరీలో వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ 52% ఆఫ్ ఉమెన్ జడ్జెస్. I think it's very, very encouraging for all the women to enter into this field. ఇంతమందికి జ్యుడిషియరీ ఓపెన్గా ఉంది. ఉమెన్కి పర్టిక్యులర్గా, బికాజ్ వీళ్ళు ఎక్కువ కష్టపడతారు, ఎక్కువ కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేస్తారు చదువు మీద కానీ, వాళ్ళు వర్క్ చేసే ఫీల్డ్స్లో కానీ ఎక్కువ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ చూపించగలుగుతారు. అందుకనే ఉమెన్ ఎక్కువ మంది ఎగ్జామ్స్లో సక్సెస్ అవుతున్నారు, రాగలుగుతున్నారు. ఈ ఫీల్డ్లో కూడా దే ఆర్ మేకింగ్ దేర్ మార్క్. ఫస్ట్ ఎంటర్ అవ్వటం అన్నది ఎవరికైనా ఏ ఫీల్డ్లో అయినా కష్టం, కానీ ఒక్కసారి ఒక దారి ఏర్పరిస్తే మిగిలిన వాళ్ళు ఈజీగా ఆ దారిని అందుకోగలుగుతారు. దాంట్లో ఉన్న ఇబ్బందులు తప్పకుండా ఉంటాయి, ఇబ్బందులు లేకుండా ఉండవు. ప్రతిదీ మీటూ మూమెంట్. ఎందుకు వచ్చింది మీటూ మూమెంట్? సెక్షువల్ హెరాస్మెంట్ ఎట్ వర్క్ ప్లేసెస్ పాయింట్అవుట్ చేస్తున్నారు, షేమ్ చేశారు ఉమెన్. ఇట్స్ ఎ వెరీ గుడ్ మూమెంట్. ఐ థింక్ దాన్ని వాళ్ళే, మాకు సరైన వాతావరణం కావాలి, మాకు వర్క్ చేసే ప్లేస్లో ప్రాపర్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ కావాలి, మమ్మల్ని హెరాస్ చేస్తే వీ విల్ షేమ్ యూ, వీ విల్ నేమ్ యూ అని చెప్పి మీటూ మూమెంట్ వచ్చింది. అలాగే ప్రతిదీ ఉమెన్ వాళ్ళ వాయిస్ రేస్ చేయగలుగుతున్నారు. ఇప్పుడు వాళ్ళ క్వశ్చన్స్ వీ షుడ్ డిస్కస్ ద ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అని చెప్పి అంటూ ఉన్నారు. అలా వీ షుడ్ బీ ఓపెన్ టు డిస్కషన్. ఎందుకు ఎక్కడ మహిళలకి ఇబ్బంది కలుగుతుంది వాళ్ళు ఎదగటానికి, వాళ్ళు బయటికి రావటానికి? మన ఆచారాలు ఇబ్బంది కలగజేస్తున్నాయా? వీ షుడ్ ఓవర్కమ్ ఇట్. మన ఆచారాలే కలగజేస్తుంటే వాటిని ఎదుర్కోగలిగే ధైర్యం కూడా మనకు ఉండాలి. పూజలు వ్రతాలు చేసుకుంటూ ఇంట్లో కూర్చోండి అంటే ఇట్స్ నాట్ ద ప్లేస్ నౌ. మనం ఎంతమంది బయటకు వస్తేనే సొసైటీ అంత డెవలప్ అవుతుంది. మన నేషనల్ జీడిపి పెరగాలి అంటే ఉమెన్ ఎక్కువగా ప్రొడక్టివ్ వర్క్లోకి రావాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. వీటన్నిటిని గుర్తించుకొని ప్రాపర్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ క్రియేట్ చేయాల్సిన బాధ్యత ఫ్యామిలీ మెంబర్స్కే కాదు, సొసైటీలో అందరి మీద ఉంది. ఈరోజు పేపర్లోనే చూస్తూ ఉన్నాం ఎంతమంది ఉమెన్ పొలిటికల్ ఫీల్డ్లో ఉన్నారు అనేది. ఓన్లీ 14% ఆఫ్ ఉమెన్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఇన్ లోక్సభ అని. అండ్ పర్టికులర్లీ ఇన్ తెలంగాణ ఓన్లీ 4% ఆఫ్ ఉమెన్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఇన్ అసెంబ్లీ. ఈస్ దిస్ ద థింగ్ వీ వాంట్? మోర్ అండ్ మోర్ ఉమెన్ వస్తే మనకే మంచి సొసైటీ వచ్చే అవకాశం దొరుకుతుంది. మనందరం చాలామంది వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుంది వాళ్ళ ఎనర్జీస్, వాళ్ళ అన్నీ ఇంట్లో కూర్చొని వేస్ట్ చేసుకుంటున్నారు. చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళు కూడా ఇంట్లో కూర్చుంటున్నారు. ఎందుకు కూర్చోవలసిన పరిస్థితులు వస్తున్నాయి? చదువుకున్న వాళ్ళు కూడా దానికి కన్ఫైన్ అవుతున్నారు. మొన్న రీసెంట్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ 14 ఏళ్ళు హౌస్ అరెస్ట్ ఉన్న హౌస్ వైఫ్ గురించి చదివితే నాకైతే మనసు కలిచివేసింది. ఎందు గురించి అంటారా? ఆ అమ్మాయి షీఈ్ ఎ పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్, కానీ ఎందు గురించి ఇంట్లోనే హౌస్ అరెస్ట్లో ఉండవలసి వచ్చింది? హస్బెండ్ ఈజ్ అన్ అడ్వకేట్, ఆమె ఫాదర్ ఈజ్ ఎ ప్రొఫెసర్. ఇలాంటి ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్లో ఉన్న అమ్మాయికి కూడా అలాంటి కండిషన్స్లో ఎందుకు ఉండవలసి వస్తుంది? ఇంట్లో 14 ఏళ్ళు హౌస్ అరెస్ట్లో ముగ్గురు పిల్లలు ఉండి పిల్లలతో సరిగ్గా తల్లిగా అమ్మ అని పిలిపించుకోలేని పరిస్థితులు అలాంటివి ఉన్నాయి అంటే ఆ పరిస్థితులు ఎలాంటివి అన్నవి అర్థం చేసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. ఉత్త చదువు ఒక్కటే సరిపోవట్లేదు మనని ఎంపవర్ చేయటానికి. వీటన్నిటిని ఎదుర్కోగలిగే ధైర్యం కావాలి. ఆ ధైర్యం అన్నది నాకు ఒక సినిమా డైలాగ్ గుర్తొస్తూ ఉంటుంది. గొప్ప గొప్ప యుద్ధాలు బయట వాళ్ళతో చెయ్యం, మనలో మనం చేసుకుంటాం. ఆ యుద్ధాలన్నీ మనని అభివృద్ధి బయటకు వెళ్లకుండా ఏమి అడ్డుకుంటున్నాయో మనం ఆలోచించుకోవాలి. ఆ బ్యారియర్స్ని అధిగమించగలగాలి. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ద మెసేజ్ వీ షుడ్ గివ్ ఇన్ ఆన్ దిస్ ఉమెన్స్ డే ఫర్ ఆల్ ద ఉమెన్. దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ ఐ థింక్ I would share with all of you. Thank you very much. ఆల్ ఇండియా రేడియో వారికి నాకు ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు నా కృతజ్ఞతలు. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఒక మహిళ సాధికారత కేవలం చదువుకుంటేనే కాకుండా పాల్గొనటంలో వస్తుందని మేడం చెప్పారు. ఒక గృహిణి ఇంటిని సరిగ్గా నిర్వహించగలదనే పిల్లలందరూ కొట్లాడుకుంటున్నప్పుడు అమ్మ దగ్గరికి పరిగెత్తుతారు, నాన్న దగ్గర కంటే కూడా. మరొక విషయం ఏమిటంటే పురుషుడికి నిపుణత లేదనో లేతే ధర్మాన్ని న్యాయాన్ని సరిగ్గా ఇవ్వగలుగుతాడో లేదో అనో తెలియదు, కానీ న్యాయస్థానాల్లో ధర్మదేవతకు ప్రతీకగా స్త్రీనే ఉంచుతారు. ఆ ధర్మదేవతకు రిప్రజెంటేషన్ అయినటువంటి రాధారాణి గారికి కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాం.
May I now request Ms. Celestine Shaukat, who's the Manager Apprenticeship, NASSCOM Telangana, to please come onto the stage and speak a few words. She has 17 years of experience, and let me tell you, she has given an opportunity to thousands of employees, of unemployed employees, to take part and be an IT employee. So let's welcome her with a big, big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm glad and proud to be given this stage today to talk to all the women around me about the achievements of the women that I come across, the woman I have become from a girl in a small city with a lot of obstacles that I have crossed to come to where I am today. There was a time, I'm from a very small city in Odisha, moved on, grew up with a single mom, with a lot of obstacles where my family wanted to get me married when I was hardly 16 years old. I moved out, educated myself, and I am here today where I'm creating not just people with better talent, better knowledge, but I'm also helping in creating jobs. Thank you. So when I came to Hyderabad, green-eyed girl, started off for a job at a BPO, and that was not meant for me. I was not someone who would sit and just provide customer service. I needed to do something more and important with my life. That is when I decided to become a trainer. And when I became a trainer, I empowered thousands of young girls and boys to choose a career of their choice, to develop their behavioral skills, their communication, their technical skills. I've done it all. And then I moved up a step higher, because I felt when I am training these candidates, I'm only reaching out to a couple of thousands. But when I create trainers, I'm reaching out to these trainers would again in turn train 1,000 more people. So I'm reaching out, reaching out to more and more people across the country. And again, now that again was not just enough for me. We are creating talented youth, but where are the jobs for these youth? That is where I decided I have to do something more for them. So I have done my part as a trainer. I have trained candidates. I have moved on. I have trained trainers to train more candidates. And now my job here is to create more jobs. That is when and where I have joined this amazing organization called NASSCOM, where I work with the apprenticeship team, and I create jobs across the IT/ITES sector. And in the past 4 years that I've been working with them, we have created lakhs of opportunities for young girls and boys. And specifically for girls, we have special courses, special programs that are running, which is also known as Nari Shakti Certified, and other certain courses. We also have Women in Tech. And I'm proud to tell you that as of now, we have 36% of women in tech, which was a very small number a few years ago. Where women are achieving things, we have 70% representation of women in HR. HR is primarily more of a women-based job. However, there are certain obstacles that all of us are still facing. Why just HR? Why not operations? Once when I had applied for a job in operations, I was told, being a woman, you cannot be so strong. You cannot segregate your personal life and your emotions. That because we need a strong hand to take care and to be stern on the floor. You might not have that. I feel I have those. When I can go ahead and train my kid at home, I'm sure most of you do that. We train people around us. Why can't we go ahead and be stern in an organization? Now, when I have moved on in the particular role that I am, I take care of apprenticeship where we create, and that too we work in a very close Government of India project known as National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme. We are working hand in hand with the government, with the ministries, with the NSDC, with NASSCOM is doing making a really huge change where every month we are deploying some thousands of candidates in different jobs. Now again, yes, you start as an apprentice, but then when you move on, you have jobs in big organizations like Microsoft, like Google, Deloitte. All these organizations are engaging apprentices, and that is a big win for me. Where I could just, empower people and then leave them to search for jobs. Here, I'm actually helping people get these jobs. So this is something which is a major achievement for me in my life. And yes, I would also encourage people around you. Do not, try to fit into the same shoes, as we already spoke about it. Gender equity, right? Equal equity. Do not try to fit into your elder sister's shoes or your elder brother's shoes. That is not what you need to do. Pave your own path. Everyone is different. You have your unique skills. Dwell on it, understand it. Go ahead and, improve, create your own history or your own road to gain whatever you want in life. We as women should not feel obligated, that, oh, my mom would say this, my dad would say this, my husband would say this, I shouldn't be doing this. Why not? Who is stopping you to achieve your dreams? No one. It's only you who is stopping yourself from achieving your dreams. Empower yourself with the skills, with the knowledge that you need to move on and grow in life. We at NASSCOM have a lot of courses specially defined for women. So there's a free platform which we have, which is known as Future Skills Prime. On that particular platform, we have different courses for women, for boys and girls. In fact, before we started the session, Sir had said that most of the new generation or most of the youth are only on their phones. They're only on social media. We should have certain platforms where they can upskill themselves. Well, here we do have this particular amazingly great platform, Future Skills Prime, which is meant for people like you and me. I still go and do courses there. Meant for people like you and me to go and upgrade our skills and also get certified and apply for jobs. So this is also placement linked. So this is for you to choose the skills that you want. There are certain free skills, there are certain paid skills, depending upon the level that you want to. So please go ahead and use this opportunity, upskill yourself. And coming back to Women's Day, what International Women's Day means to me, International Women's Day should not just be one day where we say, we pat ourselves on the back and say, well done, we have achieved this and we've achieved that. That is not International Women's Day. It should be a day, yes, we take a step back and we go ahead and, okay, we count the blessings that have come our way. But it is our day to plan for the remaining 364 days, or what we want to do, what we want to achieve. Okay, so that's it. And one word of advice for all of you, dig your roots deep. Learn to sway, learn to embrace, learn to bend, but do not break. Because only if you adapt to the changing times will you be able to achieve your dreams. Thank you, everyone, for hearing me.
Thank you, Celestia and Shaukat ma'am, for that motivational, indeed a much needed motivation, where you have a world of opportunities and you, as a woman, can achieve anything. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. And
Sorry to interrupt and all you women. So Celestian, first we met one day and you told me we will rock. And see the crowd, we are rocking dear. So this is the Women's Day. Yes. Thank you.
మాతృభాష అంటారు, పితృభాష అనలేదు. మాటలే కాదు, అస్తిత్వం కూడా స్త్రీతోనే మొదలవుతాయి. ఆకాశవాణితో సుదీర్ఘ అనుబంధం, శిక్షణలో నైపుణ్యం ముళ్లపూడి సాయి చక్రధర్ గారి స్వంతం. స్టేట్ బ్యాంక్ స్టాఫ్ కాలేజ్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ మెంబర్, అసిస్టెంట్ జనరల్ మేనేజర్గా వృత్తి బాధ్యతలు. ఆకాశంలో సగంతో మిగతా సగం ఏం చేయాలో, ఎలా ఉండాల్సో చెప్పాల్సిన బాధ్యత ఇప్పుడు ఏకైక స్టేజ్ మీద ఉన్నటువంటి పురుషుడిగా వారి బాధ్యత, వారిని ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం.
అందరికీ నమస్కారం అండి. ఆన్ ది డయాస్ అండ్ ఆఫ్ ది డయాస్, అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు అందరికీ. ఈ ఏడాది ఒక థీమ్ మనం ఆలోచిస్తే డిజిట్ ఆల్. అందరికీ తెలుసుంటుంది డిజిట్ ఆల్. డిజిట్ ఆల్ అని ఎందుకు పెట్టారో అని నేను గూగుల్ చేశాను. దాని యొక్క ప్రాముఖ్యత ఎందుకు వచ్చింది, అసలు డిజిట్ ఆల్ ఎందుకు పెట్టాలి అని. తర్వాత ఐటీసీ 2002 రిపోర్ట్ ప్రకారం మగవాళ్ళు 69% ఇంటర్నెట్ వాడుతుంటే లేడీస్ది 63% ఉంది. తరువాత వరల్డ్ ఎకనామిక్ ఫోరం రిపోర్ట్ రీసెంట్గా పబ్లిష్ అయిన రిపోర్ట్లో వాళ్ళు చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే STEM అందరికీ తెలుసుంటుంది ఈ పాటికి, సైన్స్, టెక్నాలజీ, ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్. 2050 సంవత్సరానికల్లా 75% ఉద్యోగాలు స్టెమ్ దీంట్లోనే ఉంటాయి. దీన్ని తీసుకుంటే కనుక బేసిక్స్గా తీసుకుంటే మనకి ఇప్పుడున్న స్త్రీల యొక్క డిజిటల్ టెక్నాలజీల యొక్క లిటరసీ కనుక చూసుకుంటే 21% ఆఫ్ ద ఉమెన్ ఆర్ నౌ వర్కింగ్ ఇన్ ద ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ అండ్ ఓన్లీ 12% are working in the artificial intelligence research institutions. So there is a need for the women to come and take the ICT ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్లో చాలా ఉపయోగించుకొని ఇంకా ముందుకు వెళ్ళవలసిన ఆవశ్యకత ఎంతైనా ఉంది. ఎందుకంటే 2050 సంవత్సరానికల్లా స్టెమ్ యొక్క ఉద్యోగాలే ఎక్కువగా ఉంటాయి. సో డిజిట్ ఆల్ అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. నేను అనుకుంటూ ఉంటాను, ఇంటర్నెట్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా అందరూ సవ్యంగానే కరెక్ట్గా వాడుతున్నారు. దీంట్లో కూడా ఇన్ఈక్వాలిటీ ఉందని నాకు నిన్నే తెలిసింది చూసిన తర్వాత. ఇంత ఇన్ఈక్వాలిటీ ఈ ప్రపంచంలో ఈ టైంలో కూడా ఉంది అంటే అది నేను నమ్మలేకపోయాను నిజంగా. నా విషయానికి వస్తే బ్యాంకింగ్ రంగం మహిళలకి ఎటువంటి సదుపాయాలు సమకూరుస్తుంది? దీని మీద నేను చెప్పాలి అంటే ఫస్ట్ అసలు మహిళలకి ఇంపార్టెంట్ రంగాలు ఏంటంటే ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ సెగ్మెంట్ అంటాము, అలాగే అగ్రికల్చరల్ సెగ్మెంట్. ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ సెగ్మెంట్ ఎందుకు ఇంపార్టెంట్? ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ సెగ్మెంట్లో మనకి సెల్ఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్కి అవకాశాలు చాలా ఉంటాయి. ఇక్కడ మేడం గారు కూడా వీళ్ళకి తెలుసుంటుంది. సో ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ సెక్టార్ వచ్చేటప్పటికి మళ్ళీ మనకి దాంట్లో 3 రకాలుగా ఉంటాయి: మైక్రో, స్మాల్ అండ్ మీడియం. ఈ మైక్రో అండ్ స్మాల్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్కి ఎవరైతే స్త్రీలు వాళ్ళు కొత్తగా స్టార్ట్ చేయదలుచుకున్నారో వాళ్ళకి స్టేట్ బ్యాంకే కాదండి, మన భారతదేశంలో గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా వాళ్ళు ఏం చేశారంటే సిటీస్ అంటే రూరల్ సెల్ఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ట్రైనింగ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్స్ అని నెలకొల్పారు. ఈ రూరల్ సెల్ఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ట్రైనింగ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్స్లో ఆడవారికి ప్లస్ మిగతా వారికి కూడా ప్రత్యేక శిక్షణ తరగతులు ఉంటాయి. ఈ శిక్షణ తరగతుల్లో 10 రోజుల నుంచి 45 రోజుల దాకా ఉంటాయి వ్యవధి. ఈ 10 రోజులు ఎవరైతే ట్రైనింగ్ పూర్తి చేసుకుంటారో, అంటే డిపెండింగ్ అపాన్ ద యాక్టివిటీ ఇట్ విల్ స్ప్రెడ్ ఓవర్ టు 10 to 45 days. ఎవరైతే వాళ్ళకి ఒక సర్టిఫికేట్ అనేది ఇష్యూ చేస్తారు, ఈ సర్టిఫికేట్ తర్వాత బ్యాంక్స్ అనేవి వాళ్ళకి రుణాలు ఇస్తూ ఉంటాయి. ఈ రుణాలు ఇవ్వటానికి మనకి ప్రోగ్రామ్స్ చాలా ఉన్నాయి. వాటిని యొక్క అవగాహన లేకపోవటం వల్లనో లేకపోతే ఇంకా ఇతరతర కారణాల వల్ల మహిళలు ఎక్కువగా ఉపయోగించుకోలేకపోతున్నారని నా భావన. మహిళలందరూ ముందుకు వచ్చి మెయిన్గా మనకి చూస్తే ఫస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ వచ్చేసేసి ముద్రా యోజన. మీ అందరికీ ముద్రా యోజన గురించి వినుంటారు. దీంట్లో శిశు అని స్టార్ట్ అవుతుందండి, చాలా చిన్నది. ఎవరైనా మహిళలు కనుక మీకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళైనా సరే చిన్నది ఏదైనా ఒక వ్యాపారం చేయదలుచుకుంటే వాళ్ళకి 50,000 మాత్రమే రుణం ఇచ్చి స్టార్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. మేము ఇంకా రిస్క్ ఎక్కువ తీసుకోలేము, ఎక్కువగా ఫస్ట్ స్టార్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు దే కెన్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ శిశు లోన్ 50,000 దాకా. దేని తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి కిషోర్ అని ఇంకోటి ఇస్తారండి లోన్, సెకండ్ స్టెప్ లోన్లో అది 5 లక్షల దాకా ఇస్తారు. తర్వాత తరుణ్ అని ఇంకో లోన్ ఇస్తారండి, దాంట్లో 10 లక్షల దాకా రుణం ఇస్తారు. ఇక్కడ ఎటువంటి సెక్యూరిటీ బ్యాంక్ వాళ్ళు అడగారండి. ఇక్కడ అర్థం చేసుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే బ్యాంక్ అనగానే మనకి మైండ్లో ఇంకోటి వచ్చే థాట్ ఏంటంటే సెక్యూరిటీ గురించి అడుగుతారేమో బ్యాంక్ వాళ్ళు అనగానే. సెక్యూరిటీ అనేది బ్యాంక్ అడగదండి. మనం ధైర్యంగా వెళ్ళొచ్చు, మనం చేసే యొక్క వ్యాపారము, ఆ వ్యాపారం అనే దీంట్లో మనకి సర్వీస్ సెక్టర్ కావచ్చు, అది మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ సెక్టర్ కావచ్చు, వెళ్ళి ధైర్యంగా అడిగితే ఇది ఒక లోన్ అండి. ముద్ర తర్వాత ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఈజీపీ అంటే ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ జనరేషన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ అని ఇంకో స్కీమ్ ఉందండి. అక్కడ కూడా మనకి దాంట్లో అయితే ఇంకా సబ్సిడీ కూడా వస్తుందండి. మహిళలకి దాదాపు రూరల్ ఏరియాస్లో ఉన్న మహిళలకి 35% దాకా సబ్సిడీ ఇస్తారు. బ్యాంక్ వాళ్ళు ఒక 5% పెట్టుబడి పెట్టి బ్యాంకు దగ్గరికి వెళితే బ్యాంకు వాళ్ళు 95% లోన్ ఇచ్చి తరువాత 3 ఏళ్ల నుంచి 5 ఏళ్ల దాకా వాళ్ళు తీసుకునే యాక్టివిటీ గురించి మనకి చూసి తర్వాత 5 ఏళ్ల తర్వాత వాళ్ళకి బ్యాక్ ఎండ్ సబ్సిడీ అని గవర్నమెంట్ ఇస్తుందండి. 35% దే కెన్ డైరెక్ట్లీ, దెర్ ఇస్ నో నీడ్ లాస్ట్ 35% ఇంకా లోన్ మిగిలినప్పుడు 5 ఏళ్ల తర్వాత ఆ 35% వాళ్ళు రీపే చేయక్కర్లేదు, గవర్నమెంటే రీపే చేస్తుంది. దీన్ని కూడా సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోండి. ఇదే కాక సెక్యూరిటీ విషయంలోకి వస్తే కనుక ఇంకోటి సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ క్రెడిట్ గ్యారంటీ ఫండ్ ట్రస్ట్ అని ఒకటి స్థాపించిందండి. 2 కోట్ల దాకా ఏ బ్యాంకరు కూడా రుణానికి సెక్యూరిటీ అడగకూడదు. ఎందుకంటే నేను ఒక బ్యాంకర్గా ఉండి ప్రజల్లో ఎటువంటి అపోహలు ఉన్నాయో నాకు తెలుసండి. 2 కోట్ల దాకా ఎటువంటి సెక్యూరిటీ అవసరం లేదండి. వెళ్ళి డైరెక్ట్గా వెళ్ళొచ్చి అడగచ్చు. సో ఒకవేళ కొన్ని అనివార్య కారణాల వల్ల ఆ యూనిట్ ఫంక్షన్ చేయకపోయినా లేకపోతే మూతపడినా కూడా బ్యాంకు వాళ్ళకి ఈ గ్యారెంటీ ఫండ్ ట్రస్ట్ అనేది, ఈ ట్రస్ట్ ఏదైతే నెలకొల్పారో దాని ద్వారా మళ్ళీ తిరిగి వాళ్ళు 85% దాకా మనకి వాళ్ళు రీపే చేస్తారండి. ఇన్సూరెన్స్లు అనుకోండి, మామూలు సింపుల్గా మాట్లాడుకునే ఒక ఇన్సూరెన్స్ లాంటి ట్రస్ట్ ఇది. సో బ్యాంకర్ అక్కడ ఫీజు కడతారు, ఆ ఫీజుకి తగ్గట్టు వాళ్ళకి లోన్ ఒకవేళ బ్యాడ్ అయితే కనుక ఆ ట్రస్ట్ వాళ్ళు మనకి మళ్ళీ డబ్బులు వెనక్కి ఇస్తారండి. సో ఇటువంటి స్కీమ్ ఒకటి ఉందండి. తర్వాత వచ్చేసేసి మెయిన్గా ఎస్హెచ్జి మీరందరూ వినుంటారు, సెల్ఫ్ హెల్ప్ గ్రూప్స్. ఈ సెల్ఫ్ హెల్ప్ గ్రూప్స్లో కూడా వాళ్ళు దాచుకున్న మొత్తానికి 1:1 నిష్పత్తి నుంచి 1:4, 1 అంటే వాళ్ళు చేసుకున్న సేవింగ్స్ స్టార్టింగ్ 1 ఇయర్ తర్వాత, 6 నెలల నుంచి 1 ఇయర్ తర్వాత వాళ్ళు ఎంత సేవ్ చేసుకుంటారో దానికి తగ్గ మొత్తంలో మళ్ళీ రుణం ఇస్తారండి. ఇంకా కొద్దిగా ఆ యూనిట్ ఒక 3 ఏళ్ళు 4 ఏళ్ళు 5 ఏళ్ళు ఒక మెచ్యూరిటీ వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఆ యూనిట్కి 1% వాళ్ళు ఒక పార్ట్ వాళ్ళు కనుక చేసుకుంటే దానికి 4 ఇంకా 4 టైమ్స్ కనుక బ్యాంక్ లోన్ ఇస్తుందండి. దీనికి కూడా ఎటువంటి సెక్యూరిటీ బ్యాంక్ అడగదండి. సో ఈ విషయాలు మళ్ళీ అవగాహన లేదో నాకు తెలియదు. నేను ఎప్పుడైతే పనిచేశానో, ఎక్కడైతే బ్రాంచ్ హెడ్స్గా పనిచేశానో, ఈ స్వయం సహాయక బృందాలకి వాటికి లోన్స్ ఇచ్చాను. చాలా సక్సెస్ఫుల్ స్టోరీస్ ఉన్నాయండి దీంట్లో. నేను ఐఎమ్ నాట్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ఇన్ 2020s, ఐఎమ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ 2000s, 2001, 2002, 2003 ఆల్సో, వెన్ ఐ వర్క్డ్ ఇన్ అ వెరీ రిమోట్ విలేజెస్. Also we used to give them and we used to empower them, and they did wonders, I can say that. Okay, దాని తర్వాత ఈ ఎస్హెచ్జిస్ లోన్స్ తర్వాత మనకి అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ ఎలైడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్. మీరు గ్రామీణ ప్రాంతాల్లోకి వెళ్తే కనుక అందరికీ పొలాలు ఉండకపోవచ్చు, ఎలైడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ కూడా ఉంటాయి. డైరీ యూనిట్స్ కానివ్వండి, లేకపోతే చిన్నది మన కోళ్ల పెంపకం కానివ్వండి, ఇటువంటి వాటికి కూడా రుణాలు ఇస్తారండి. ఈ రుణాలు తీసుకొని ఎల్ఐడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ కింద వీటినన్నింటినీ మీ అందరికీ తెలుసుంటుంది. ప్రతి రిజర్వ్ బ్యాంక్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా పర్టికులర్గా 40% ఆఫ్ ద లోన్స్ ఏవైతే ఇస్తారో ప్రతి ఏడాది, దాంట్లో 40% ప్రయారిటీ సెక్టార్ కింద ఇవ్వాలండి. ఈ ప్రయారిటీ సెక్టార్లోకి వచ్చేటప్పటికి అగ్రికల్చరల్ యాక్టివిటీస్కి 18, అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ ఎల్ఐడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్కి 18% యొక్క లోన్స్ ఏవైతే ప్రతి సంవత్సరం కొత్త లోన్స్ ఇస్తారో వాటిలో 18% వీళ్ళకి ఇవ్వాలండి. అలాగే వీకర్ సెక్షన్స్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో వాటికి 7.5% ఇవ్వాలండి. సో ఇవన్నీ కలుపుకొని యాక్చువల్గా గవర్నమెంట్ దగ్గర నుంచి తర్వాత బ్యాంకులు కూడా చాలా సహకారాన్ని అందిస్తూ ఉన్నాయి. అలాగే మీరందరూ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లోన్స్ తీసుకొని ఉండుంటారు, లేకపోతే హోమ్ లోన్స్ ఉండుంటాయి. ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళు హోమ్ లోన్స్లో కూడా 0.5 నుంచి 1% దాకా లేడీస్కి కన్సెషన్ ఉంటుందండి. అలాగే ఎడ్యుకేషన్ లోన్స్ తీసుకునే వాళ్ళకి 0.5% నుంచి 1% దాకా వడ్డీలో కూడా రాయితీ ఉంటుందండి. ఎవరైతే సక్రమంగా కడతారో వాళ్ళందరికీ ఇవన్నీ ఇస్తారండి. సో ఇవన్నీ నేను బ్యాంకు గురించి ఏవైతే నాట్ ఓన్లీ స్టేట్ బ్యాంక్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఇన్ పర్టికులర్ అండ్ ఇన్ బ్యాంకింగ్ సెక్టార్ ఇన్ జనరల్, there are so many schemes which are being provided, and there are so many schemes by the central government and the respect to state governments also to empower women. My only appeal to all is, please know them, అవగాహన తెచ్చుకోండి, వెళ్ళి అడగండి. ఈ ది బెస్ట్ అయితే మీకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళకి ఈ సెల్ఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ట్రైనింగ్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్స్కి ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వాటికి మీరు పంపండి. అవి ఎక్కడ డీటెయిల్స్ తెలుస్తాయంటే ఏ బ్యాంక్ బ్రాంచ్కైనా వెళ్ళి అడగండి, వాళ్ళు చెప్తారు ఆ జిల్లాలో ఎక్కడ ఉంది ఈ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ అని. వాళ్ళ దగ్గర నుంచి తెలుసుకొని వాళ్ళని పంపించండి. ఒకటే గుర్తు, మనం ఒకటండి, సస్టైనబిలిటీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఇవాళ ఏదో చేసాము, ఈ ఏడాది ఏదో చేసాము ప్రోగ్రామ్ అని కాకుండా సస్టైనబుల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఈ సస్టైనబుల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ కోసం మనకి ఉమెన్స్ యొక్క పాత్ర చాలా కీలకమైనది. సో మీరందరూ ఇక్కడ ఎక్కువ శాతం వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి మీరందరూ ఇవన్నీ ఉపయోగించుకొని దేశాన్ని ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్తారని భావిస్తూ ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినంత ఆల్ ఇండియా రేడియో వాళ్ళందరికీ కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలుపుకుంటున్నాను.
వేదిక మీద చాలామంది అంటే ఆపర్చునిటీ కోసం ఎదురు చూసేవాళ్ళు కాకుండా ఆపర్చునిటీ ఇచ్చేటువంటి వాళ్ళే ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళందరికీ మరింత అటువంటి పథకాలను ఉపయోగించుకుంటూ అటువంటి స్కీమ్స్ని పెట్టుకుంటూ మరింత మందికి ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ జనరేషన్ చేయడానికి వీలుగా స్వశక్తి తమకు తాముగా సంపాదించుకోవటానికి చక్కనైనటువంటి మార్గం ముళ్ళపూడి సాయి చక్రధర్ గారు చెప్పారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ అండి.
May I now call upon an entrepreneur, educationalist, and a social activist who is a doctorate in education, master's in English literature, and also an MBA. She's a recipient of International Award for Outstanding Contribution in Business Development. May I request Dr. Vidya Shravanti Garu, who's an entrepreneur, to please come onto the stage.
అందరికీ కూడా నమస్కారం. మరి ప్రేక్షకులు ఎవరైతే ఏఐఆర్ చూస్తున్నారో వింటూ ఉన్నారో వారందరికీ అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవ శుభాకాంక్షలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను. Well, I want to start by saying that my life was in 3 phases. The first phase was when I was a professor in affiliated college of Usmania University. That was for about 50 years. మరి నా రెండో దశగా in my second tenure of 10 years, I started a non-banking finance company. ఇప్పుడే మనతో షేర్ చేసుకున్న సార్ చెప్పిన విధంగా it is a microfinance NBFC. I worked in about 10 states. ముఖ్యంగా lagging states అని ఉన్నాయి, 5 lagging states in India. So I worked there towards women empowerment, offering these small loans where women can do sustainable investment and business of their own, income generation. That's when I was recognized with an international award as well, because it was one of the first women leading and all women staffed non-banking finance company. Well, then I had to leave that because I'm blessed with 4 daughters, again women empowerment there, and I had a son. So it so happened that when I conceived my son, I left that work because there was a lot of travel in that. And then I stayed back for a year. That's when I started 5 different schools. And today there's an international school which is of great repute, as well as which is called Reckleford International School, as well as a college of education. Now each of these institutions, one is a 25-year-old institution which I started in the year 1998, and the others are about more than 10-year-old. Well, today we are focused upon what do women do? What is women empowerment? And how does education influence women? I must say that, there is a very common saying, which all of us are aware, that the woman who rocks the cradle rules the world, isn't it? Yes, we all know that. So women who are of the lowest cadre itself are also the ones who can take control of their homes. They can control of their own lives. They can do much more than their own small area of home. స్త్రీలు ఏ పోర్షన్లో లేరు అని మనం అనుకోలేం. ఒకవేళ ఒక పబ్లిక్ మీటింగ్ ఉంటే కూడాను, బికాజ్ ఐఎమ్ అ నామినేటెడ్ మెంబర్ బై ద టీఆర్ఎస్ పార్టీ ఇన్ టు ద జిహెచ్ఎంసీ అండ్ I'm a co-option member there as well as a member on the Minorities Commission. I know that when you organize a team meeting, you can see that దాదాపుగా 60-70% వరకు స్త్రీలే ఉంటారు అక్కడ. ఎందుకంటే చాలా ఆసక్తిగా వస్తారు. అదే కాకుండా ఎక్కడ చూసినా ఏ రంగం చూసినప్పటికీ కూడా వీ నో దట్ విమెన్ ఆర్ ద వన్స్ హూ ఆర్ కమింగ్ ఫార్వర్డ్. దే ఆర్ ద వన్స్ హూ ఆర్ ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ ది అదర్స్. ఎన్నోసార్లు అంటాము హూ ఈస్ ద విమెన్ బిహైండ్ ద మ్యాన్. But I should say now we have women in the forefront and the men are the ones who are encouraging. Times are changing. But let's also know that there are areas where we still need to take hold of things. Today, there is one consensus that I can share with you is among the top CEOs world over who are, controlling the big industries, only 2.5% are women. So when we are talking of equity, where are we? That is the main concern that we must share. We may talk about equilibrium, we may talk about equality, but then where is our equity? Are we going into those areas where we need to be really the leaders? Now, talking of education, how does education influence a woman? If you think about the inner self of every person, we become more and more aware of things around us only because we are educated. Education is not literacy. It's not just learning to read and write and learning to read books and gaining knowledge. But education is far beyond that. It is learning to be what you are from within, bringing that out is education. And trying to make that to become beneficial not only to yourself but to the world around you. Only when you can influence people around you, other than controlling your own self, then only can education become complete. It can work wonders in the world around us. హౌ డస్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ ఎవ్రీ ఉమెన్? ఇప్పుడు రూరల్ ఏరియాస్కి వెళ్ళినట్లయితే స్కూల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, సంస్థలు ఉన్నాయి, మరి అంగన్వాడీస్ ఉన్నాయి, ఎన్నో ఉన్నాయి పిల్లల్ని ఎంకరేజ్ చేయడానికి. మరి ఫ్రీ భోజనం కూడా ఉంది, లంచ్. కానీ కొన్ని షార్ట్ కమింగ్స్ వలన ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఫుల్గా దాని లెవెల్కి అది వెళ్ళలేకపోతుంది. అది చాలా చింతించవలసిన విషయమే. కానీ ఎక్కడైతే ఒక హోమ్లో ఒక ఫాదర్కి మదర్కి వాళ్ళ చైల్డ్ని ఎడ్యుకేట్ చేయాలి అని ఒక ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉన్నట్లయితే తప్పకుండా ఇన్ దాట్ హోమ్ యూ కెన్ సీ వండర్స్. They don't have to worry about, do I have only daughters or sons or whatever it be. A gender oka influence undadu akkada, because that is how. So how can the woman in the family create that kind of mental status in the family is very important. How does it influence? It influences a woman. The education influences spiritually, economically, socially, intellectually, in so many ways. Even spiritually you become a strong person if you are educated. Education means being more self-aware, isn't it? Then you can be much more independent as well. Also, it influences your economic development. Not only development of individual, but development of your society. Economic development of your society. Economic development of your state and your country. International economic development. It's only when both the woman and the man work in any sector, in every sector, only then can a country be known to be progressing. And if that progression has to take place, education is the foundation. Without it, we all know that there are some areas, some professions which are very noble, and education is one of them. Maybe teachers today are not well paid. Maybe it's considered to be not a very, a profession where it is wanted, and children and students are not eager to join there. When I was a young girl itself, I wanted to be a teacher because that is the kind of influence my teacher had on me. So today's teacher also needs to influence their own students. There is another way in which education influence, that is capacity building. You have an inner capacity, you have a potential within yourself, but to build upon it, you need to be educated. How does that happen? By conducting workshops, by conducting lectures, seminars, by going to the grassroots levels in villages and trying to bring out the inner self to the forefront. By doing that, you're building on their own capacities. లోపలున్నది ఏదైనా మనకి చేయగలుగుతాను, నాకు ఒక శక్తి ఉంది అని ప్రతి ఒక్క స్త్రీకి తెలుసు. కానీ ఆ శక్తిని మనం గుర్తించాలి, దాన్ని బయటికి తీసుకురావాలి, దాన్ని మనం డెవలప్మెంట్ చేసినట్లయితే అప్పుడు ఆ స్త్రీలో ఉన్న శక్తి పూర్తిగా ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. ఎప్పుడైతే సొసైటీకి ఉపయోగపడుతుందో, when you can influence the society, when you can be an individual that can impact lives around you, then you know that your education has become much more useful. So all education will finally aim at that kind of a conclusion. Once education is provided to every girl child, that would be the milestone to bring about a change. The milestone in your life, the young girls who are sitting here, is how much you are educated, not in terms of your degrees, but in terms of how your knowledge you are able to tap and make it resourceful to help yourself, to see that it is going through to its final levels. So I just want to dwell on few more points. Education is not just central to the status of a woman, but it is also one of the areas where a woman can notice her own self-worth, her own dynamism. And also she will learn to have a right to control her own life. మనం ఎన్నో మాట్లాడొచ్చు, కానీ ఇంతకుముందు మాట్లాడిన వన్ ఆఫ్ ద స్పీచెస్లో మనం చూసింది ఏంటంటే, a woman if she doesn't know her own self-worth, then it is a very sad state of affairs. You may have all the degrees, but then if you do not know, I can do this, I can accomplish this, I know I am capable, I can acquire more skills in order to achieve it. If you do not have that sense in you, అటువంటి ప్రేరేపణ నీలో నీకు లేనట్లయితే నీ జీవితమే ఒక శూన్యం అవుతుంది. ఎందుకనంటే ప్రతి స్త్రీ ఏం ఆలోచించాలంటే, నాలో ఉన్న శక్తిని, స్త్రీ శక్తి అంటే చాలా గొప్పది, చాలా విలువగలది, చాలా చాలా ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేయగలది అని ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి తెలుసు. కానీ ఆ శక్తిని పూర్తిగా బయటకు తీసుకురావటం అనేది ప్రతి స్త్రీలో ఉన్న అది ఒక ముఖ్యమైన మరి దీవెన, మరి వాళ్ళు చేయవలసిన బాధ్యత. ఆ బాధ్యతని తీసుకొని ఆ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీని ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు మేక్ యువర్ ఓన్ చాయిసెస్, in order to change the world around you, in your own home, in the society. That is education. Also, you must fight for the political power. Indankene chepparu manaki madam garu that there is not enough politicians at the legislative level, at the state level, and at the country level. We must see that more women are coming out and voicing out. And not, it doesn't mean your agitations or you're creating some confusion or some kind of noise. That's not it. But coming out very structurally in order to influence society around us. Before I conclude, I want to quote from Martin Luther King, who said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can drive out darkness." If that has to be the aim, if we need to bring in that light, because we all know light is what can dispel all darkness around us, and knowledge and education, there can be that light which can bring that change into the life of every woman. Let us hope and pray that India will be, just like Gandhiji said, if you can walk alone, straight-headed in the midnight, that is when India has really achieved independence, isn't it? Only when you can walk in the midnight, daringly. So if we have to work for that, every woman, every girl, child, every person that is around, which is every individual, be it a man and a woman, together we have to work for that. That is education. That is when we are all empowered to rule the world, to live in equity with others around us. Thank you.
Behind every successful woman, there is a no, maybe, but there's knowledge that the woman acquires, as ma'am said. So all you got to do is gain knowledge. And from all the walks of life, our guests here are giving out words like every drop in the ocean of motivation. If these words are tattooed in your brain, then probably we have a long way to go. Thank you so much, ma'am, for those wonderful words.
సమప్రపంచం ఈ శీర్షికతో ఆకాశవాణి ఈరోజు అంతర్జాతీయ మహిళా దినోత్సవాన్ని సెలబ్రేషన్ చేస్తోంది. 2 రాష్ట్రాల్లోని అన్ని ఆకాశవాణి కేంద్రాలు, అలాగే ఆకాశవాణి యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్ నుంచి ఈ కార్యక్రమం ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారం అవుతుంది. ఒక పురుషుడి విజయం వెనక స్త్రీ ఉంటుంది, కానీ స్త్రీ విజయం వెనక ముందు ఎవరు ఉంటారని ఎక్కడ చెప్పలేదు. తను నిలబడితే చాలు, అది విజయమే. నమ్మకానికి జీవితమే పునాది. అది వస్తువుకైనా మనిషికైనా ఒకేలాగా వర్తిస్తుంది. మనం చేసే పని మీద నమ్మకం, మన మీద మనకు నమ్మకం, ఇవే మనల్ని ప్రపంచం నుండి భిన్నంగా నిలబడతాయి. ఈ సూత్రాన్ని జీవితంలో చేసే వ్యాపారంలో అన్వయించుకున్న మిథిలా దేవభక్తిని గారు విజయవంతమైన వ్యాపారవేత్త, మహిళలకు స్ఫూర్తి ప్రదాత. వారిని ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నాం.
Andarki namaskaram. Wishing you all a happy Women's Day. So that we're talking about equity, I want you to take you through my journey of how I've established an equal, more or less an equal and an equity created space for myself. So I'm from Vijayawada and I've gone to the US, done double masters, gotten a very good job, which is considered to be something of a dream job to have, dream space to be in, happy life, settled. But my dream has always been to come back to India, not to stay in the US. And I always wanted to start my own business. And absolutely nobody agreed to that. Everybody said, one, coming back to India, leaving the US, not a good thing to do. You'll have a much better life there. Two, business is not for women. Not at all for women. You'll face lots of hurdles, especially in India. You'll have to go through a lot of red tape, bureaucracy. It is something you wouldn't want to crave. But I didn't listen to anyone. I said, no, I'm coming back. I've come back with my husband because we both wanted to start our business. We came back in 2015, started our business in 2016. And then I just didn't get into business. I got into electronics. So electronics is a space you barely see women in. So, everybody around me, including my family, relatives, were like, electronics and business, okay, this is doomsday, right? You've given up your job, you've given up your lucrative career, now you've ended up here and more or less ruined your life. All your education, all the money that went into your education, gone forever. I didn't care. I just didn't give a damn. I said, this is my life and this is what I want to do with it. I spoke up, not aggressively. I just said, see, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm happy with. Am I asking for anybody's support? No. Am I asking you to just give me a chance and let me be? Yes. So nobody could do anything about it because honestly, I never asked anybody for support. We've started the business. We've built it on our own. We've gone through lots of hurdles. But as a women co-founder, I think I faced a lot more hurdles than my husband would. We would end up at, a meeting and people would assume only he runs the business. She's probably taking care of administration at the office. There were lots and lots of bias I had to deal with. But again, did I give a damn? No. I just said, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and I let my work speak more than me speaking for it. And when I actually opened my mouth and I could bring in value, then people's opinion automatically changed. I didn't have to scream from the rooftop to say, no, I work as hard. My knowledge in the field, my knowledge about work, the value I'm able to take in spoke for itself. And then I gained my respect automatically. I gained my place. Every time for many years, he would automatically be given respect, but I had to earn my space. Again, I never made a fuss about it. I just said, this is the reality of it, and I'll make sure I get my space. So 2 things I want to tell you guys. We speak a lot about, equal society, and the society has changed a lot. But let us not just wait for the society. Let us create our own space. Speak up, okay? Show your worth. Nobody, we have amazing women sitting here. Nobody would dare say that they didn't achieve anything in life. Did they have to shout? Did they have to fight? Maybe. But also, their work speaks for themselves. Right? There is bias. There is no way of getting around it in one day. It's getting better and better, but it's not going to improve tomorrow. Stand up for yourself. Show that if you have to work a couple of hours extra to get that respect, get it. Just get it done. We women don't complain anywhere else. I have 2 small kids, very small, 2 and 4 years old. I manage them, but I also make sure at home, it is not my husband's company, it is not my home. That is equity and equality. It is our company, we run it together. It is our home, we raise the children together. And that, again, I had to speak up. I never fought with anybody. I've realized over time, it's not about fighting. It is not that people want to put women down. In many instances, sometimes yes, but it's not that people want to put women down. As a society, we are used to a certain way. But when we speak up and say, guys, isn't this wrong? Just in a, cool, logical manner, isn't this wrong? Right? When I tell people, oh, wow, your husband's helping with your kids, I very calmly, with a smile on my face, tell them, not my kids, our kids, and he's not helping, he's raising our kids with me. Just that sentence and enough, right? It changes people it provokes people to think. It changes people's mentality. So we don't have to always fight, but we will have to reason. Why do we have to be in this situation? Would be great, then, but we wouldn't have International Women's Day if we didn't have to be in this situation. But yes, it's great if we didn't have to be, but we are. So how can we deal with it? How can we make that space better for ourselves? And how can we own the space? And let me tell you another crucial thing that I think is extremely important for all the girls, for all the women, is financial independence. You have to be financially independent. Doesn't matter how much, how well, but you have to be financially independent if you want your voice to be heard. Why are we fighting? Women work as hard at home, but we still are fighting that we want to get out, we want to do all this, because when you work at home, you're not given that value, right? Because the money, the actual money is gotten by somebody else and they get to make decisions. Again, that's the reality of it. So be financially independent. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You shouldn't be dependent on somebody to take care of you. That is when you're giving away your power. Be financially independent. That is extremely important. This is what we do at, again, coming back to my story. Now today, I'm not just respected and recognized because Mivi has actually is the third biggest audio company in India. But even today, when I go to all the summits, electronic summits, I'm the only woman. I don't ask for any special treatment. I don't even ask for anybody to recognize me as women. I tell them, I'm in the summit, I equal, not to be celebrated. And this is what I tell people on Women's Day and, in general, women don't need to be celebrated. We just need to be recognized and respected. That is giving us equity. So once again, wishing you all a happy Women's Day.
Midula ma'am, we heard you and we praised you also. On National Youth Day, we organized a big level program in which we met K. Viswanath sir. And we met Deepti Ravala ma'am also, CEO of Vividh. And she told me that if you meet Midula, you will realize it. Is the sky limit for us women? So you have proved it, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming here and giving your...
80% of Mivi's workforce today is women. So that is an amazing achievement for us.
ఏది తానంత తాను దరికిరాదు, నరుడు నరుడోట దుష్కరమ్ము సుమ్ము. అవును, మహిళ నాయకురాలు కావాలంటే తనలోంచి చైతన్యం పుట్టాలి అని చెప్పారు మిథుల గారు. ఆమె మాటలు మీ అందరికీ స్ఫూర్తినిచ్చాయని ఆశిద్దాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్.
May I now request, last but not the least, our speaker, who's a public relations and comms at Dhruva Space, who's an expert in freelancing tech and also a film journalist. Let me please welcome Divya Kalabhavani Garu right here onto the stage. Please give her a big round of applause.
Happy Women's Day to everyone, again, on and off the dais. I think everyone here, the stories here have been absolutely inspiring, and I don't want to get into the space of, oh gosh, what else do I say now? That's different. But we all are different, and I think that's the beauty of it. So I think, I'll start with my story. I grew up in a very, very small part of the world. I actually grew up just north of South Africa. I am born in Hyderabad, but I grew up just north of South Africa in a country called Botswana. And all of my Indian friends there, who I'm still very close with, today, 30 years later, they all kind of went down the typical fields of doctor, lawyer, accountant, all very respectable and noble fields in their own right. But, my grades did not really reflect that of a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant or anything of those sort. But I really found a passion in storytelling. And I think one thing that, where I grew up, the kind of family, the kind of environment that I was in was my parents said, hone your skills, nurture what you're good at and embrace your weaknesses as well, recognize them. And I think as a woman, we are often forced to shy away from what we're not good at or forced to shy away even from what we are good at. So I definitely think one of the first things that we should all embrace is the strengths that we're surrounded by, the support systems. And if we don't have a support system, create one. Find them in your friends, find them in your teachers, find a mentor. I think these are one of the most wonderful things you can do for yourself. And it's never too early in your life to do that. So I found my mentor who helped me apply to a top 3 university in the UK, where I studied journalism, and I proceeded to get my master's as well. And one thing that I noticed when I moved to India was, as I progressed into film journalism and tech journalism, and I'm sure my fellow women here will definitely see, the massive gaps in the industries, the various industries. I really wanted to tell these women's stories in so many different ways, and all of them said the same thing. They were all told very early on in their career, and even after they've established their name, they were told no, which is probably one of the most discouraging things, but if anything, it was fuel to the fire. And one thing that I really appreciated was when I was doing film journalism, for example, and I would be in a I would be watching a lot of these very, very, bold actresses who took on these really challenging and mentally taxing roles, physically exhausting roles, shooting at all hours of the day or night. They were asked the most mundane questions compared to their male co-stars. The same thing would happen to female CEOs of these, startups or tech companies. How do you deal with, being a full-time mom? Yeah, that's actually a really good question, but there are other things to ask. There are other ways a woman can tell her story. So that paved the way for me joining Dhruva Space, which is actually India's first space tech startup. And I think the beauty of a startup is there's no structure, right? There's agility, there's fluidity, there's a lot of adaptability. And I work with an amazing team who really want the story of space heroes being told, and India's space ecosystem is really growing and thriving. And I really encourage you, whether you're a technical or a non-technical person, look into the industry, because you never know where you may end up. I did not, if you told me 5 years ago that I would be working at a space company, I would have laughed at you. Well, humble me now. But I definitely think that there is space for everyone. There's space for us all. And that's no pun intended. I genuinely believe that. So look to, look to your friends, look to your teachers, find your mentors, and understand what's around you. Definitely be so aware of the kind of resources you can take advantage of. And don't be afraid to ask questions. As a journalist, I always tell journalists who also come to Dhruva and ask and say, my editor just put me on this space thing. I don't know what to ask. I'm like, ask anything. There's no such thing as a stupid question. And that's something that I apply to my daily life as well. The more questions, the more conversation. The more conversation, the more change. The more change, positive change is always a good thing. And I think you can never have enough of it. So one thing that I would definitely, look back on my experience working at a space company, the kind of women that I work with there, they were also told no at some point in their life. But little did those people who told them no, they helped build India's 2 first private satellites that have now done 1,600 orbits in space. These satellites fit in the palm of your hand. And they've done it in less than $3.5 million. There's this perception that space is expensive. Yeah, it can be expensive. There's a perception that space has no room for women. Wrong. There's a perception that, women can't be, you'd have to have technical knowledge to join the space company. Not true. I'm living proof of that. So space is such an important part of everyday life. Sir talked about, scrolling through social media, that's maybe a problem. We wouldn't have that without the power of satellites. And if anything, I also turned that into a career. Thank you. And, I again, don't let people tell you no. And I think, if somebody says no to you, the best thing that you can respond with is why. People are used to saying no. They're not used to telling you why you shouldn't do something, why you can't do something, why you shouldn't do something. Help people become self-aware. Make yourself heard. And definitely, you empower those around you. Become a support system, and you invite a support system. To all the listeners out there, and thank you All India Radio for providing a really wonderful platform to such a wonderful, diverse group of women here who've spoken about their stories, their struggles, and their successes. It's truly, truly, we need to have these conversations every day. So thank you to everyone here. And if, the door is always open. If anybody wants to have another conversation with me about space or storytelling or, just kind of finding a support system, finding a mentor, I'm definitely here for that, and I welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Divya ma'am, for that wonderful opportunity as well to ask questions. But I would like to, with all due respect, with sir's permission, I would like to open the forum for one question. You can ask it to our panel members or anybody. Just one question which you think that, the answer is supposed to be heard. If you think the answer should be heard by a lot of women. Any questions? Probably I have one question. I could just, put it forward, and any one of you, with all due respect, can answer. So, for us women, we achieve a lot. As ma'am said, we focus a lot on studies, and we're very good at our education and everything. I'm sorry. But there's one question that comes that, Shadi kab karogi? When will you, settle down? When will you marry? So the woman is in a confusion where what happens after marriage, we don't know. So, what's the best method to be assertive and tell our parents that we want to achieve our dreams even while we continue our balanced life, or while, managing work-life balance? How do we convince? I hope the answer would be, a very important one for most of the women here who are listening.
Mother of 4 daughters, so I know what it is. Yes. Yeah, very true. ఎప్పుడైతే ఒక అమ్మాయి చదువు పూర్తవుతుందా అనే వరకు పెళ్ళి, marriage looks like the immediate option. But that the girl has to decide. Like you rightly said, it is for the girl to take the decision. And one of them said, you should ask the question why. So when the girl is ambitious, or, she need not have to be ambitious. She's just a career woman and she knows that she wants to explore her worth. So when she's doing it, the parent will also know that she's doing something. So the best way to convince your parent is to say that, yes, I am progressing towards that eventually, but right now I am going to do what I can. I need to bring out what I can best bring out. And then I'm definitely sure, any parent will say, yes, we'll give you that space, a little more time. Because there's no other thing if at all you have a stubborn and closed-minded parent. There's no other way. But most parents are now open to that kind of a calling. But the girl has to prove and say, I'm driving towards something, let me accomplish this. But not that marriage is a negativity in life. I was married when I was 19. Conceived when I was 20, and continued my study and work. I was working from the year I was 20 as a lecturer. You can do everything. It's not that you can't juggle with yourself and your own life. I never stopped working, not a single day. Not a single day. I don't take leave. At my college, they gave me every year 100%, attendance award. So while I was working with small babies. So you can achieve wonders, you can create. Kani, to create that to your parents' mind, you have to prove. Proving is tough because the boy doesn't have to prove. It looks like, he has to work. But the girl needs to show that she is worthy enough to be working. So have your own goals. Your goals can be short-term and long-term. Set your goals. Let your parents see that you're driving at those goals and not whiling. Nowadays, no whiling away times, like our sir spoke about cell phone. It is diverting our mind, and we are, getting into other things where the students are also carried away. That should not happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And yes, hope we all women get an opportunity to prove and choose what we want. May I now request Seema Kumari ma'am to please give us the vote of thanks.
So thank you very much to Raja Rao sir and Jayashree ji. And coming to International Women's Day, today sir has taken a step back, because today Women's Day, he has given me opportunity to say a vote of thanks to you all. So we have all the ladies sitting here on the dais. One is the job giver, one is the educationist, one is the justice, and the last and the one before the last is entrepreneur, and we have Dhruva woman, not Dhruva man here. And we have one sir who is the financer. So means here also we have the support of men who are supporting the women to go ahead in her life and do the wonders. So as ma'am has wound up it, connecting the dots, 5 years back, what she was, and now after 5 years, what she is. So we all women have to connect that dots in our life. We should move ahead. we should, what Madam has just now said, we have to prove ourselves. As a man, they don't have to prove. We are not having that privilege to that we can, pave our path very easily. We have to earn that respect. As Midula ma'am said, I have earned the respect and my husband got it automatically. So here, once again, I wanted to thank you all to giving us opportunity and giving us time. And I'm thanking sir also and appreciating we and our team also to stealing the time from you all of us. Thank you so much and wish you a very happy International Women's Day. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, our distinguished guests and our speakers. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. But now we have another session. We will commence with the discussion on innovation and technology for gender equality. Students from Center for Women Studies, University of Hyderabad. We have Ms. Anuhya Prasad, Ms. Abhiruchi Chatterjee, Ms. Sayoni Saha, Mr. Rupam Hazarika, Ms. Naitikata Roy, Ms. Lasya S. Nair. We're going to have a discussion on innovation and technology for gender equality. And the participants in this discussion are from St. Anne's College, Medipatnam. Yes, and that is the acknowledgement they're giving us. So you're listening to All India Radio Hyderabad, and right here we are in the studios, and we will commence the discussion in a few minutes. This is All India Radio Hyderabad. We have had the special program on the occasion of International Women's Day from 10 a.m. until now. And right now from our studios live from All India Radio Hyderabad, we have the discussion on innovation and technology for gender equality. The students from Center for Women Studies, University of Hyderabad are present here. May I now name the students again? Ms. Anuhya Prasad, Ms. Abhiruchi Chatterjee, Ms. Sayoni Saha, Mr. Rupam Hazarika, Ms. Naitikata Roy, and Ms. Lasya S. Nair. And to participate in the discussion, we have the students from St. Anne's College, Hyderabad, Medipatnam. So may I now give the mic and over to the moderator, Ms. Abhiruchi Chatterjee.
Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you so much, Jayashree. Good morning, everyone, and wishing you all a very happy Women's Day. On the occasion of International Women's Day today, and in the backdrop of this year's theme for the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, which is Innovation and Technological Change and Education in the Digital Age for Achieving Gender Equality and the Empowerment of All Women and Girls. As the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women is ongoing this month from 6th to 17th March, we, the students from Center for Women Studies at the University of Hyderabad, are gathered here today to discuss on the innovation and technology for gender equality. My name is Abhiruchi, and I have with me here on the panel today Anuya, Rupam, Shaini, Naitikta, and Lasya, and I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We live today in a digitized world where technology has changed the way we work, the way we study, how we receive information, and the way we communicate and interact with each other. There's a systemic push for innovations in technology from the market as well as through enabling government policies such as Startup India and Digital India. This has in the recent past further been augmented during the pandemic to identify technology-enabled solutions to rapidly emerging development challenges. So, let's commence the discussion today with what it means when we advocate for technology for gender equality. Often in the public imagination, technology is a machine, mechanical, non-sentient, and devoid of human biases. The ushering of the digital age and the new millennium had brought with it new hope that technology will solve all the problems we face as a society. However, as we now know, the mere existence of technology does not translate to development for all. Anuya, do you think the use of innovation and technology automatically results in gender equality, or does it need active conscious efforts?
Good morning. So, evolution of human development has always been linked to scientific advancement and technical development from time to time. What exactly is technology? It is science of applying knowledge to practical purposes, but science and knowledge base are situated in the social milieu, that is, they are embedded in a cultural context. On the similar lines, when we look at women and work, it is just not the technical aspect of work that we are looking at, it is much beyond that. It is about the nature of work, the nature of work providers, and also about working conditions. This explains why we have instances of young women being socially stigmatized, subjected to teasing and name calling. If we try and understand the evolution of women's roles in the economic activities, shows how social and economic reforms helped in transforming women's roles from being housewives and subsistence farmers to workers and owners of rural enterprises and are reaping results in terms of raised incomes and standards of living. Women are working at rural industries that are home-based enterprises, also at labor-intensive industries like weaving cooperatives, food processing units, garments and exports industries, also electronics manufacturing industries and many other small enterprises, and also they have shifted even to the high-tech industries. But what are the roles they are playing? Mostly they would be dull, monotonous and mechanized processes on the production level, and not to forget always under strong male supervision. In such conditions, there is little recourse to self-improvement and limited access to decision making. The issues of culture and socio-religious norms of women becomes complex and complicated, and there is interaction of ideological and religious factors with government policies and levels of education and nature of work environment that brings in the dilemma of production and reproduction of women as modern age workers. You know, the gendered biological essentialism is always there. Technological interventions and strategies, upgrading women's education and technical skills, and also it should be mainly focused on alleviating burdens of housework, which would be crucial in addressing the essence of scientific and cultural challenge.
Thank you, Anuya. Thank you so much for highlighting the feminization of poverty and exclusion of women from the technological narrative. You brought out critical linkages underlying the safety and security of women and girls while at work. Gender-based violence is an issue of concern as it prevents nearly half the population of our nation from living freely and uninhibitedly as equal citizens. Reported crimes against women are on the rise, with 15.3% annual increase as per the latest data by the NCRB. In this context, there have been several interventions on leveraging technology for enabling women's safety. The development of, for instance, mobile apps on women's safety by state police, such as the Hawkeye app for travel and She Team's WhatsApp helpline number here in Telangana, or I could think of the Shakti app in Jharkhand. These are some illustrations of how the state has used innovative technology for women's safety. Shayani, can you share with us some examples of how innovative technology has been creatively used to address gender-based violence?
Good morning, everybody, and a very happy Women's Day. So, to answer your question, I would like to begin my discussion by talking about what gender-based violence is about in a very brief way. So, it basically refers to any type of harm that is carried out against a person or group of people because of their factual or perceived sex, gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity. So here I would like to talk about how technology can be used for prevention of gender-based violence for girls and women. Technological solutions can raise awareness and can reduce the risk of violence of the user. For example, the Safety Pin is a mobile app that crowdsources and maps real-time data from users to provide public safety information. It is an innovative app made in India and is co-founded by gender rights activists Kalpana Vishwanath and Ashish Basu in 2013. The app utilizes location safety scores to help the users, primarily girls and women, to plan their routes and find safe places to stay. This has been used by nearly 1 lakh people in 65 cities, including Jakarta in Indonesia. The data collected by this Safety Pin app is also being used to guide the improvement of public spaces for women and girls. In Delhi, this collected data led the city government to address areas with poor safety scores, and they had to install 5,000 street lights and improved police patrols. Another innovative tech development by Caritas in Brazil is an AI-powered chat box and fictional character that is used to address risk of sextortions and online harassment. The platform brings to life the story of a 21-year-old girl who discovers that her ex-boyfriend has posted an intimate video of her online. The Facebook page and the Messenger chat box allow the user to interact with the girl, listen to her story, and learn from her experience. The creation of virtual safe space facilitates access to information and services in a way that is safe, culturally appropriate, and accessible to users, even when physical services are limited. Virtual safe spaces have been piloted for girls in emergency-affected locations with information on gender-based violence, sexual and reproductive health, self-care, and empowerment. So before I end, I want to talk about a hidden mobile app which gives women in Serbia a safer alternative for reporting violence. Under the UN Women Regional Program, Ending Violence Against Women in the Western Balkans and Turkey, Implementing Norms, Changing Minds, funded by the European Union, the SOS network in Vojvodina in Serbia developed a mobile application through which women could report violence and seek help, which was disguised to prevent detection by abusers. The app can be accessed by smartphone or internet and is available in Serbian, English, and Romani languages. It is adapted for use by people with disabilities and compatible with mobile reading, writing, voice programs. By pressing on the SOS button, users can call the support organization nearest to them, or they can choose to contact an organization they already know. When women report violence through the app, the time and place of the report, as well as other details provided by the survivor, are recorded in a software program called the Integrated Information System. This produces a large amount of data which enables women's organization not only to provide women with better service, but also advocate for their cases and for actions aimed at eradicating violence against women and girls more widely. I want to conclude by saying that all the technological developments that I have talked about focuses mainly on girls and women, but the violence that the transgender and queer people face is also a matter of grave concern. So I think that if these apps could be made more gender inclusive and disability friendly, then it would be very helpful for the people of these communities. Also, the availability of these apps for free of cost should also be looked into for easy and wide access.
Thank you, Shiny. Thank you, Shiny. It's so heartening to know that when women leverage their experiences for technological innovation, we have development solutions that cater to their lived realities and the challenges that they specifically face. I also thank you for underscoring the importance of inclusion, particularly of LGBTQ plus community, as well as persons with disability, particularly women with disabilities, in the design and usage of technology. This brings me to you, Naitikta. How do you think has human bias and male gaze percolated in technology, particularly in medical technology, and how, according to you, can innovations in technology be leveraged to provide inclusive healthcare for all? Thank you.
Thank you, Abhiruchi. Thank you, Abhiruchi, for the question. I do agree that there has been enormous contribution from technology and science towards the healthcare system, but we have this common perception that the innovation and technology and science is always for moral good, and this is not the case in terms of social reality. If we look at it, how the innovations in technology and healthcare affects people, it is very much rooted in their social identities, their intersections across gender, and not just gender, race, caste, class, etc.
Yes.
So I want to look at the root of how we are driven towards science and technology in the first place. I want to draw upon one of my favorite feminist philosophers, Sandra Harding, who has called for feminist interventions in science and technology. One of the ways that she does it is by challenging the objective rationality and value neutrality that we have for science. By that, what I mean is, we always assume that science is removed from social reality, it is removed from biases of sexism and misogyny, but that is not the case. So what Harding is talking about is that innovation is also very much socially constructed and politically motivated. For example, there is this book written by this author, Dr. Dorothy Roberts. The name of the book is Killing the Black Body, Race, Reproduction, and the Making of Liberty. So in that book, the author is tracing that in 20th century, when there was a movement for birth control, it was very much also aided by white supremacists who wanted to eliminate the black population. So even within the feminist so-called feminist movement, we can see that there can be biases that percolate within. Also, if we look at scientific innovations in terms of healthcare, like we are talking about contraception, science has been always willing to risk women's bodies for the sake of progress.
Yes.
And that is because women's bodies are already seen as disposable. So how our bodies are treated within laboratory, how we are reduced to only bodies and nothing else, that is also a reflection of the bias that we already have in science. Since we are talking about contraception, like if you look at the current data in National Family Health Survey, 2019 to 2021, we saw that only 1 in 10 men are using condoms right now. But, only 1 in 10 men are using condoms right now. But around 4 out of every 10 women have to go through sterilization as a permanent method of contraception. So the burden of contraception, especially in Indian context, is very much shifting towards women. It is becoming their burden, and men are evading a lot of economic and social responsibility. So if we are looking at the market for innovation, say, what if there could be a male birth control without side effects on women's bodies? So there are no innovation, there are no resources that are being directed towards that, because it is already assumed that men are not going to use it. Also, another thing that I want to point out is whatever technological innovations that are happening right now, say in terms of cancer, we came up with hormonal therapy. Hormonal therapy is also one of the reproductive rights that women have. It is also a very gender-affirming healthcare for trans people.
Yes.
But right now, in order to access that gender-affirming healthcare, it is very difficult for trans people because they are facing a lot of structural violence. At the same time, this same healthcare, this same hormonal therapy, in this instance, is being weaponized against intersex children who are having to undergo surgery without their consent, and they are dependent on hormonal therapy for their whole lives. So what we are looking at here is technology is impacting people across both ends, both for positive and negative, and that is very much dependent on their social location, where they are set up historically, socially, in all aspects, how much on the margins they are. So overall, I think that we should think about when we look at science and technology and how it can be used for innovation, we first need to criticize that side of production of knowledge itself. We need to acknowledge that sexism and misogyny is there, it is not removed, and then we work towards a system where we unlearn the patriarchal conditioning while we are also training ourselves in science and technology, and then move towards gender equality.
Thank you so much, Naitikta. Thank you for unpacking the patriarchal norms along the lines of gender, caste, class, and the rural-urban divide. Um, Anuya, do you have any thoughts to add on this?
So, as I mentioned, excuse me, as I mentioned, science is derived from society. So, society and science, it goes like, both sides of the coin, science and social. So, for the need of invention and the need for innovation in scientific developments, the need arises from society. And when I say that, I just want to mention the assisted reproductive technologies that are being, a thing of nowadays, which is really helping women to explore their economic employments and also to, have great success in their ambitions. And what I would like to mention here is about egg freezing. That has been a new technology, and egg freezing is quite not accessible right now to all sections of the society, but still it is there. It is in a way helping, the new technology is helping women to not stay back at home, and it is helping them to stay in the economic production roles. And when I say that technology is really helpful in bringing women from the home, it has also been, created, I mean, let me put it in right way. Technology is trying to couple with capitalist drives, and there are instances where technology is creating more social evils like surrogacy has become a really a black market, wherein there are women being to be precise, being marketed for their bodies, and that has created a real black economy out there. So that's a point I would like to.
Yes, thank you, Anuya, for bringing in the context of assisted reproductive technology and the north-south divide and the north-south location in which women's bodies are exploited for in which women's bodies are exploited. And I when I think of that, I also feel grateful that we have recent acts like the ART Act on surrogacy, passed in 2021, which provide rights for women and recognize the limitations of technology and the barriers that technology can present, and enabling rights for women to have autonomy and control over their bodies and reproductive decision making. So thank you so much for bringing in this point. Let me move on to broaden the discussion on not looking at women as a homogeneous category. It's so very crucial to look at the heterogeneity of women and unravel the various barriers that women face in accessing information and resources for informed and independent decision making. In this context, it is important to discuss the multiplicity of on-ground barriers for women and girls in bridging the digital gender gap. According to the NFHS 5, only 1/3 of women, that is 33% in India, have ever used the internet, whereas 57% men, that is over the half, have accessed the internet. And amongst this, the least connected category are rural women, where internet has reached barely even 1/4 of the population, which is 24.6, compared to men, which means that nearly double the ratio of rural men, that is 50% of 48.7% of rural men are able to use the internet, whereas half of the rural women are not able to. How do you think, Rupam, has the pre-existing gap, the digital gender divide, has impacted access to education for women and girls, particularly during the pandemic as the classroom got digitized? And how, according to you, can we leverage innovative technological tools to address the digital gender gap in education to achieve inclusive and sustainable development at the last mile?
To all, first of all, a very happy International Women's Day to all of you. Now, coming to your question, technology is an effective way to promote a healthy educational system worldwide. The most important role of technology in education makes learning more accessible, exciting, and enjoyable. The development of technological advancements in education leads to enhanced knowledge and skills of students. As of 2021, India recorded a higher nationwide share of men with at least 10 years of schooling than that of women. Around half of the male population aged between 15 and 49 years stayed in school for at least 10 years, compared to only 41% of their female counterparts. Education system are increasingly trying to ensure equitable, inclusive, and high quality digital skills education and training. Though digital skills open pathways to further learning and skill development, women and girls are still being left behind in digital skills education. Globally, digital skills gender gaps are growing despite at least a decade of national and international efforts to close them. Women are less likely to know how to operate a smartphone, navigate the internet, use social media, and understand how to safeguard information in digital mediums worldwide. There is a gap from the lowest skill proficiency levels, such as using apps on a mobile phone, to the most advanced skills like coding computer software to support the analysis of large data sets. Women in numerous countries are 25% less likely than men to know how to leverage ICT for basic purpose, such as using arithmetic formulas in a spreadsheet. UNESCO estimates that men are around 4 times more likely than women to have advanced ICT skills, such as the ability to program computers. Across G20 countries, 7% of ICT patents are generated by women, and the global average is at 2%. Recruiters for technology companies in Silicon Valley estimate that the applicant pool for technical jobs in artificial intelligence and data science is often less than 1% female. To highlight this difference, in 2009, there were 2.5 million college educated women working in STEAM compared to 6.7 million men. The total workforce at the time was 49% women and 51% men, which highlights the evident gap. While the gender gap in digital skills is evident across regional boundaries and income levels, it is more bad for women who are older, less educated, poor, or living in rural areas, developing countries. Girls and women are denied access to digital technologies because they almost always come second in a patriarchal social order. Obviously, the pre-existing gap of digital gender had impacted girls' education, especially girls from marginalized and poor background. And when suddenly during the COVID pandemic, the whole classroom concept became digital, I think at that time most vulnerable groups were women. And I think we need a favorable policy environment to promote the digital empowerment of women, and we need more women-centric tech policy. Thank you, Obrisi.
Thank you so much, Rupam. Thank you for highlighting the barriers and the gaps and the spectrum of gaps that emerge. There's a lot of buzz on technology transfer globally that is also enshrined in the Global Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda 2030 for Development. This brings me to the final panelist today, Lasya. Do you feel that social bias and inequalities are carried forward onto the digital realm? And how would you suggest we leverage technology for inclusive designs that enable gender equality?
So, good morning, all. I'll be talking about how algorithms have been reinforcing gender inequality in several ways. So, the most recent example of the OpenAI ChatGPT reinforcing these sexist myths or gender inequality norms can be used to validate the above statement. So, if the data used to train an algorithm is biased, then the algorithm will produce biased results. For example, if hiring algorithm is trained on historical hiring data that favors male candidates, then the algorithm will learn to favor male candidates in the future. Algorithms may use stereotypes about gender to make predictions or decisions. For example, an algorithm used to access credit worthiness may assume that women are less financially responsible than men, even though there is no evidence to support or validate the statement or these assumptions. So these are developed by people, and the biases and assumptions of the development team or these people can be reflected in the algorithm. If the development team is not diverse, then the algorithm may reflect the biases and assumptions of the team. Many algorithms are proprietary and their inner working are not transparent. This makes it difficult to identify and correct biases produced through these algorithms. These algorithms can amplify existing biases in society. For example, if an algorithm used by a job search website recommends higher paying jobs to men more frequently than to women, this can reinforce the gender pay gap that's already existing. So it is important to recognize that algorithms are not inherently biased, but they can become biased if not developed and used with care. Addressing algorithm bias requires a combination of technical solutions and a commitment to diversity and inclusion in the development and deployment of algorithms. So I'll be talking about how algorithms can be used to promote gender equality rather than reinforcing the already existing inequalities. As we know, algorithms are becoming increasingly prevalent in our lives, from determining what we see on the social media on a daily basis to influencing our job opportunities. However, algorithms can also contribute to gender inequality if they are not designed and implemented with care. The first step towards ensuring the algorithms promote gender equality is to address biases, the already existing biases in the data used to train them. This means examining the data and identifying any gender biases that already exist. The second step that can be used is to ensure that the algorithm is designed with gender equality in mind. This includes incorporating fairness metrics such as demographic parity, equalized odds, and equal opportunity into the algorithm's design. By prioritizing gender equality in the algorithm's design, we can ensure that it promotes equal opportunities for both men and women. The third step is to promote transparency and accountability in the making of these algorithms. This means making the algorithm's inner workings transparent so that individuals can understand how the decisions are made and how they are influenced through these. Additionally, there should be accountability mechanisms in place to ensure that algorithms is not unfairly biased against a particular gender. It is important to have a diverse team of developers working on algorithms. This includes gender diversity as well as diversities in other aspects such as race, ethnicity, class, caste, and socioeconomic background. By having a diverse team of developers, we can ensure that the algorithm is designed with a wide range of perspectives in mind, reducing the likelihood of unintentional biases. In conclusion, algorithms have the potential to promote gender equality and reduce gender-based biases. By addressing biases in data, designing algorithms with gender equality in mind, promoting transparency and accountability, and ensuring a diverse team of developers, we can harness the power of algorithms to promote a more equitable society.
Thank you, Lasya, for bringing out the case for women in STEM. This is why we need more and more women and girls engaged in science, technology, engineering, and medicine. Let's all conclude with one statement each on how we envision the innovation and technology for a gender equitable society. Why don't we start with you, Lasya?
Digital innovation and technological development have the potential to break down the traditional barriers and the already existing gender norms and to promote equal opportunities for women. From online educational platforms to flexible work arrangements, technology has created new avenues for women to access education and employment which would not have been possible for them otherwise. So it has also provided women with a platform to share their experiences and voices and connect with other people who have faced similar challenges, and has enabled greater transparency and accountability in addressing issues such as gender-based violence and harassment, as Saini was mentioning earlier. But all these To realize full potential of this digital innovation and technology, it is crucial that these tools, as I was mentioning before, are developed and implemented in ways that are inclusive and equitable. This requires addressing issues such as bias and discrimination in the design and development of technology, ensuring that women have access to digital infrastructure and resources, and promoting digital literacy and digital rights for women.
Thank you, Lasya. Natikita, your thoughts?
Like I was mentioning previously, I don't think that it is possible to take gender equality and innovation together unless and until we are first looking at the structural problem, which is patriarchy, combined with other oppressive structures. And also, we are talking about increased representation in STEM, but we also have to think about the representation would not matter if there is no gender sensitization in place in the first place. So we need to also understand that being women doesn't automatically qualify us as feminists. We also need to think about how we can practice feminist frameworks within our lives, keep unlearning patriarchal, misogynistic conditionings within us, and we can only hope that it reflects out there in our work, whether it be in STEM or in social science.
Thank you, Natikta. Your thoughts on the use of innovation and technology for a gender equitable society, Shiny?
One way to incorporate gender equality is to promote consent culture, to curb violence amongst women and trans people. Also, we need more representation in technological and scientific field that curate safety for people based on their lived experience, because the more gender inclusive technology becomes, the more useful it becomes for all the sections of the people in the society. Another thing that we need to keep in mind is that we have to try to produce this technology in such a way that everybody can get an easy access to it. Only then I think we can get a gender equal society.
Thank you so much, Shiny. Rupam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think involving women in technology produces more inventive solution and increases the likelihood of breakthroughs that cater to women's need and advances gender equality.
Anuya, let's hear from you.
Yeah. At this juncture, it's not a deal to get women into work. What the big deal in front of us is to get women to be a continuous role, to get them play a continuous role, and it's about continuity and productivity at work. And the challenge in front of us is reproduction responsibility that is assigned according to the gendered aspects of the societal norms, and also the child care that is being assigned to women. So what we can do about it when we think about scientific advancements, I think technological interventions and scientific developments must aim at catering to these challenges that we face right now. It would be done broadly at 3 levels, which could be education and socio-economic growth for women. That could be done by technical training that we can give, and it is being done by our government really well. And the second point, and the most fundamental, would be we need a structural change in the cultural attitudes that we aim at. And also, the last point I want to make is about the macroeconomic development, and the aim should always be at maximizing benefits to women and also maximizing women involvement in economic activity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anuya. Thanks a lot, everyone. For me, technology and innovation should be leveraged in a way that every individual is able to live their lives freely and equally. And every individual means every individual at the last mile. Thank you all. It has been a very enriching discussion today morning. Thank you for your thoughts and views. And on behalf of the Center for Women's Studies at the University of Hyderabad, a huge thank you and a lot of gratitude to AIR for providing us the platform to speak on this very critical issue that speaks to all our lived realities. Thanks a lot.
Viruchi Chatterjee. As we know that youth is the hope for our future, and all the problems as well as probably the solutions have been discussed in the discussion on innovation and technology for gender equality from the students of Center for Women Studies, University of Hyderabad. I would now request our head of programs and our station director of All India Radio Hyderabad, Shri V. Uday Shankar sir, to hand over a token of gratitude to our students. May I request Ms. Anuhya Prasad? Big round of applause. Ms. Abhiruchi? Ms. Sayoni Saha? Ms. Naitikata Roy? Ms. Lasya S. Nair? And last but not the least, Mr. Rupam Hazarika. We thank all the students for being a part of this wonderful panel discussion and the students of St. Anne's Medipatnam for joining in this wonderful discussion. Well, let us all remember that today is a celebration and we're celebrating the social, economic, cultural and political achievements and contribution of women, but this should continue each day, every day, to encourage more women to achieve their dreams. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful special program on the occasion of International Women's Day from the studios of All India Radio. May I now request Niharika Garu to please speak a few words and conclude the program.
This is Nihara Kaneti from All India Radio Hyderabad. So it's been an enriching session right from 10 a.m. in the morning until now. So we had women achievers coming here from different walks of life, be it entrepreneurs, from legal services. We had educationals, academicians, achievers from all walks of life speaking to us. It was really a learning experience today. We got to see stories. We kind of got an experience to reinvent our womanhood. I thank each and every guest who graced the occasion today and has been part of today's program. And especially, I would like to extend my thanks to all the students from Center of Women's Studies, University of Hyderabad. Thanks for touching upon each and every corner and bringing out that inclusiveness on how we can actually use technology in this digital age to not just to help women, but to protect their rights. You've spoken about reproductive rights, you've spoken about trans people and their rights, you've spoken about many other things that we usually shut our mouths thinking it is a taboo. Thanks for bringing them up and speaking to us.
All tell the listeners that please follow AIR Hyderabad YouTube channel and also follow us on AIR Hyderabad Twitter account. We're concluding this program, the special program on the occasion of International Women's Day. We wish everybody and especially the women who are listening to us happy Women's Day from All India Radio Hyderabad.